So, welcome to CSWD's winter webinar series. This is the fourth installment, Thinking Outside the Blue Bin, Recycling Special Materials. I am Recycle Rhonda Mace. I do all of the school outreach for CSWD, and I am joined by my co-worker, Beth Parent, who is the Community Engagement and Outreach Manager. So tonight, she will be basically taking in all of the questions and answers. And so for a little housekeeping, there is at the bottom of your screen a Q&A button, and you guys are all muted and I can't see you. So because of the webinar, we've got 72 people registered for this. So cross your fingers, it's a big old class. But Beth will be taking care of all of the questions. She will be answering some directly, and then she will be saving some to ask and get answered live. And so that will be fun. I've lost my video here. There we go. And so that's that. So if you have any comments, if you know of programs for special materials to get recycled, please. I don't know everything, and we at CSWD don't know everything. So please do put it in there. Another housekeeping. So on Friday, you guys will be receiving a follow-up email. This webinar is being recorded, so you will receive a recording to it. It'll be on our YouTube channel. You will also get a resource list with pretty much everything we're going to talk about tonight and more. And then also a feedback form. In that follow-up email will be a link to CSWD's calendar of events, so you guys can sign up for next month's webinar, which is all about navigating food donation with Gabby. And so that'll be March 6th at 6 o'clock. And so we hope to see you signed up for that for sure. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything here. Nope, I think we're good to go. All right, so here we go. We are going to kickstart the show on Thinking Outside the Blue Bin, Recycling Special Materials. So we're going to go over a little bit who CSWD is. We'll find out what special materials are, where you can take them, and then we're going to dive deep into batteries, electronics, plastic film or flip-floppy plastic, mattresses, and paint. And then we'll have enough time at the end for questions and answers. Now, if we miss a question or we run out of time and you typed it into the Q&A, have no fear. All of those questions and answers get recorded, and I will follow up with you on your questions personally. Some of you guys had a lot of questions when you registered about blue bin recycling. I doubt we're gonna have time to get into that tonight, but if we do, I am happy to answer it. If not, we will follow up with your questions that you had upon registration. Thank you for doing that as well. But we're going to try to stick strictly to special material recycling. All right, a little bit about CSWD. Some of you guys might know who we are. We run a couple of different facilities throughout Chittenden County. We oversee all the stuff. Well, we try to find fun and fantastic things to do with all the stuff that you guys that we in Chittenden County no longer want or need. Right, we have 6 drop-off centers that can handle a lot of different materials, from organics to trash to blue bin recycling and tonight's special materials. We've got a compost facility, the Organics Recycling Facility, home of Green Mountain Compost, that takes all of your food scraps if you drop them off with us and turns them into fantastical soil. We've got the Materials Recycling Facility, where your blue bin stuff goes, gets sorted out, and then turned into new stuff elsewhere. And finally, the Environmental Depot, that deals with all of the household hazardous waste. So we got a lot of stuff happening around the county. I think we're pretty lucky to have, not just because I work here, but pretty lucky to have these facilities. Let's see. What does special materials mean? You might be asking yourself. Well, first off, they are materials that are either banned from the trash and from the blue bin. All right, so you can't put them in either one of those places. So some of them fall into that category. Some of these materials just fall into, you can't put them in the blue bin, but they can be recycled into something new elsewhere. Sometimes with us, and sometimes with an outside program. So that's all that special materials means. You will see the orange symbol up here. Sometimes it'll say like this one, special recycling. Sometimes it'll say special materials, but look for that orange symbol and you know, all right, that's what some of these things, where some of these things go. So why do we recycle outside of the blue bin? Well, this is our alternative to not recycling or composting our stuff. This is our one and only landfill that we have in Vermont. And as I had mentioned, some things are not allowed to go in the trash or the blue bin. And so this is, you know, saving resources all over the place by recycling everything that we could possibly recycle. Again, not everything is recyclable, but we have about 18 years left in this landfill, and then we have to figure out what to do with our stuff. And you might be like, well, that's not a big deal. Well, here is a graphic of just here in Chittenden County. I know there's a couple of people that were registered outside the county, but for our county, last year we generated this much stuff, and out of that stuff, this is what we diverted or kept out of the landfill. And this is what we sent to that landfill. And as you can see, about half of what we're sending to the landfill, putting in the trash can, isn't trash at all. It can be recycled or composted in one way, shape, or form. Now, tonight, we are focusing on special materials and keeping that out of the landfill. We can, if we collected and kept out of the landfill all of the special materials, that would save 15 million pounds of stuff going to that one and only Vermont landfill. So I think that we can work on our reducing and reusing tonight, and hopefully after tonight, you guys will jump on board. Now, a couple of you guys registered before I could put up the poll, so I'm going to run a poll right now and figure out from you guys on here what you guys actually didn't know could be recycled outside the blue bin. So I haven't done a poll in a really long time. So, oh man. Oh, was that up the whole time? That's interesting.
I don't see it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it looks like everybody was answering the poll. So whoopsie, sorry about that. So it looks like there are a bunch of different things on here that, let me share the results with you guys. That looks like we can keep out of the landfill. So that's fantastical. These are things that people didn't know were recyclable. So there's hope out there. I'm excited. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that and get out of that thing. All right. So let's see. What materials do we accept at our facilities? We're going to get into that right now. If I can click on this quite right. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. All right. So these are the special materials that we accept at our drop-off centers, at many of our drop-off centers. Now, each drop-off center is going to be a little different as to what materials they accept. Burlington Drop-Off Center doesn't accept any special materials, so they only accept blue bin, recyclables, and food scraps. But we, tires and propane tanks, appliances, which will actually be pumped out. The refrigerant will be pumped out, and that refrigerant actually gets recycled, recharged, and used in other appliances, which is pretty awesome sauce. And then those metal appliances will go to scrap metal. Scrap metal is one thing that is illegal or banned from putting in the trash. And you can put metal cans and bottles in the blue bin, but if it's not a bottle or a can, don't put it in the blue bin. Bring it to one of the drop-off centers, and it will get recycled eventually. Fluorescent bulbs, mercury thermostats. You guys can read for yourselves. Everything up here is banned. These are the only 3 things that actually are not banned from the landfill that you can continue to throw into the trash. But why? Why throw it in the trash if we can find a new life for them, right? Clothing and textiles, books and mattresses are something kind of new that we just opened up. Again, we used to accept books and clothes before, but now we're accepting all 3 of these at some of our drop-off centers. So just check our website to make sure which ones are accepting it. I think, yeah. So with clothes and textiles, this is the cool thing. We use this company called Apparel Impact, owned and operated by vets here in New England. They reuse the clothes they can to provide to families in need here in New England. And then whatever isn't wearable, they send off to textile recyclers here in the United States. And they get made into things like carpets, backing pet beds and things like that, oil rags or mechanic rags. It's pretty awesome sauce. So I have a link to that in the resource page as well.
Hey, Rhonda, we have a question. Keith would like to know what happens to the dropped off books at our drop off centers.
Great question, Keith. So you can put, we have a special bin that says hard-covered books, but you can put soft-covered, hard-covered, and spiral-bound books in there. And Shredex comes and picks them up, shreds them up, bales it up, and gets that paper recycled into new paper, paper towels, that cardboard boxes, that type of thing. So great question. Any other questions out there? All right, fantastical. And like I said, tonight we'll dive a little deeper into mattresses. But if you have questions, please do throw them into the Q&A. All right. One thing that is kind of teeters on the edge of special materials and household hazardous waste is paint, latex and oil-based paint. They cannot go into the trash. You cannot bring them to any of our drop-off centers. They must come to our fantastical folks here at the Environmental Depot. Yes, you need to make an appointment, but let me tell you, 1.5 minutes to make an appointment. 5 minutes you pull in, offload, you're out of there. And we do offer the 6 rovers every summer season as well, coming to a town near you. But we take the latex and the oil-based paints do get recycled. And so that's why we throw them into the special materials category. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. This is a chart of all of the special materials drop-off sites that CSWD operates. This does not include retail stores or anything like that. However, this will be also included in your resource list. So I'm not going to spend too much time looking at it and don't, be like, oh no, she went too fast. You'll have it. I like charts myself. It's easier to read. So I thought this might help you. Now, outside of CSWD, there are 5 programs that we're going to highlight. We'll talk further about plastic bags and film or flip-floppy plastic shortly. Tennis balls, that's a cool one. It actually is a company that started in South Burlington here. They've grown so big and they wanted to be a little more environmentally friendly. So they moved their operation to West Virginia, a little more central to where they're getting all the tennis balls, but they shred them up and they make like horse riding arenas out of them. They sell them back for dogs. So if your tennis place doesn't have a collection box, get on them because we, the people, have the power to make change. Snack wrappers can go to REI in Williston. They use a company called TerraCycle and send those back. Contact lenses. My eye doctor actually has a box, which I meant to put a picture there and I forgot, but has a box out collecting contact lenses and the cases. They send them back to a company that will get them recycled. And it's all through programs like Bausch and Lomb, actually, I think funds that program. And then finally at Pet Food Warehouse, they collect pet food bags and pouches. There are rules and regulations to that, so check with them. But there's also a link to all of that in your resource list. So with that said, I am going to cut this share screen because I like to talk to you in person and I like to do a live class here. So we are going to cover batteries, electronics, plastic film, mattresses, and paint. Deborah has her hand raised. I think you're gonna have to type it into the Q&A, Deborah. I don't think we have a way to call on you. So if you could type in your question, that would be awesome.
Yep, that'll work. Thanks.
Super dupes. All right. So we are going to cover those 5 materials in a deeper dive into them, and then save some time for questions and answers later. But I'll stop after each of these 5 materials for questions. So without further ado, and there's no more questions, yeah? I don't want to leave anybody hanging.
All good.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So we're going to start with batteries. fascinating. I mean, I used to be a chemist, so the chemistry of batteries are always fascinating to me and how they work, period. And frankly, I mean, we have a future built on batteries. There's batteries everywhere. Rechargeable batteries, single-use batteries, lithium, nickel, metal hydride. It's hard to keep track. But one thing cool about Vermont is we have actually a product stewardship program run by this company called Call to Recycle. And that legislation was passed in Vermont years ago. We are the only state that actually can recycle rechargeable batteries and single use, or you'll hear them called primary batteries, for free. The only state. And according to Call to Recycle's data, we are in 2021, Vermont was #1. We recycled the most batteries. So kudos to our little state. We're weird, but we're awesome. So you can drop off batteries at our drop-off centers at anyone but Burlington or the Environmental Depot. There are also retail outlets that accept batteries as well for recycling through Call to Recycle because it is a statewide program. And you can use that program at our drop-off centers at no charge, no matter where you're from, actually. Now, getting into what batteries, any battery, really. The Call to Recycle program kind of stops its battery recycling at like the larger lead acid batteries that you get in cars and obviously giant electric car batteries. We still are working on that dilemma itself. We as a state are working on what to do with those giant batteries. But we're talking, you know, the alkaline batteries. We're talking silver oxide, hearing aid batteries or watch batteries, nickel cadmium batteries, lithium, both single use and rechargeable lithium batteries. So batteries, guys, comes in all shapes and sizes. And once you drop them off at one of the drop-off centers, we go through and sort them out. Now, you might be hearing a lot about lithium batteries. Well, it helps if I hold it right side up, huh? Lithium batteries in the news. They can cause fires if they are not treated properly. So I would recommend collect your batteries once a month, drop them off for recycling at one of our drop-off centers. Don't hang on to them for years, just to ensure that, and alkaline batteries can leak out too. Now you might be asking yourself, so what are these batteries really getting recycled into? And is it really making a difference? Well, batteries are made out of a lot of metal, and a lot of those metals come from fantastical Mother Earth. And when we recycle batteries, then we don't have to mine for those resources. So it's saving and reducing the mining activities and resources that we're taking from Mother Earth. Also, they get recycled into some pretty cool things. So they get recycled into new batteries. They can get recycled into golf clubs. And the coolest one, I think anyway, is sunscreen. So this summer, when you're smathering on your sunscreen, that white zinc in there could have been recycled batteries, which kind of freaks people out. But that's also zinc we didn't have to blow the earth up for. So win for everyone, in my opinion. Now, I have a question for you guys. How many batteries, poundage-wise, approximately, do you think that CSWD collected at all of its sites and packed up? The Environmental Depot guys packed these up for recycling through Call to Recycle. All right, let me launch this poll. Oh, that's why. It's like, all right, let's launch this batteries. So, do you think it's 13,000 pounds that we recycled in 2022, 116,000 pounds, or 73,000 pounds? What are you guys thinking out there? What are you guys thinking? Ooh. Yeah, I'm liking it. Thanks for the participation. This is fantastic. Woo! All right. Ooh, and it's slowing down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get your answer in. All right, I'm going to end the poll and share the results with you guys. All right. So most of you, or many of you, thought it was 73,000 pounds. All right. We're right there in the middle, guys. 116,000 pounds of batteries were packed up and shipped out to call to recycle for recycling. And that's just Chittenden County. All right. That is just what we collected here in Chittenden County. So that's pretty amazerful, in my opinion, that we are collecting that many batteries. And again, it's probably why Vermont is #1 battery collector in the country. I'm just trying to make sure I got everything going on there. Different types of batteries. Don't have to worry about preparing the batteries. We will do that for you. So just bring them in. Again, drop them off once a month so that we can run the rest. One thing I do want to put out there is please, please, please do not put them in the blue bin ever and ever. Lithium batteries can cause fires. I just listened to a podcast the other day and they said like 5,000 fires a year at recycling facilities throughout the United States are caused by lithium batteries. So please don't put them in the blue bin, but collect them and bring them on down to the drop-off center. All right. Any questions about batteries?
Actually, yes. Jerry would like to know if an electric lawnmower battery is too large to drop off.
It is not. So you can bring that on in, Jerry. So yeah, bring that in into anyone but Burlington drop-off center, and we'll take that. Yeah. That's like the limit, really, of the biggest battery that we will take. But yeah, bring that on in. Good question. All right, so if there's no more questions about batteries, we're going to move on to electronics, which are a pretty cool thing to talk about. Now, last year, our facilities collected over 600,000 pounds of electronics for recycling. 2022, excuse me. And so that's pretty amazing. Like when I looked at it, I was like, whoa. Now, some of those are those ginormous televisions. And so they do weigh quite a bit. But electronics are getting lighter and lighter these days. What can you drop off for recycling at one of the CSWD drop-off centers, or the Environmental Depot also takes it, but again, you have to make an appointment with them. Just remember that. Anything that connects to a computer, all right, and a television. Those are what we call covered electronics. Those are covered from, again, another product stewardship program passed by Vermont legislation, where those manufacturers have to pay for a recycling program. So it is no charge. Bring 7 or less items per visit into one of our drop-off centers, and it'll be absolutely free. By that, I mean, you can bring keyboards or an iPad, or what else? I lost my electronics from earlier. They seem to have walked away. Wow. Oh. And then we have what's called non-covered. Now, those are not free, but will still get recycled. And those are things like these little speakers, if they stop working, VCR, DVD player, that kind of thing that doesn't need your computer to run. Cameras are another one. They do come with a fee or a cost. It isn't much at all. So check cswd.net and check on the prices for those. Now, we use a company called Good Point Recycling to take care of all of the electronics, both covered and non-covered. Those guys recycled, or collected, I should say, over 3 million pounds of electronics in 2021, which is awesome. Now, 10% of what they collect, they actually are refurbish or reuse those in the community, throughout the community, I should say. I think they put them on eBay, as a matter of fact, which is pretty cool. The rest of it actually gets hand torn apart. So they literally sit there unscrewing all those screws. And I don't know if you've ever taken apart a phone or a computer. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. There's a lot of goods in there to be recycled. And the reason they don't shred it all is it lowers the value of all of those recyclables. So Good Point actually hand deconstructs everything. And this I took apart. This is an old slide phone. And there is so many parts in here. It's crazy town, but everything, plastic, glass, metal, will be recycled. And what's cool about that is that it's pretty precious metals too. It's gold, it's aluminum, it's iron. They recycle the steel, all of that good stuff. And that means, again, less resources. We're reducing the amount of resources that we're taking out of Mother Earth. Good Point is also very socially conscious as well. So nothing that they need to dispose of goes outside of the United States. So they're not shipping off their trash to other countries. They do, however, do fair trade recycling with other countries, but they make sure that everybody is getting an equal, fair wage and so on and so forth. So great company. You should check them out. There's a link in the resource list coming up. Did I forget anything about no, I don't think so. Any questions about electronics?
Hold on just 1 second. We have, what about loose cords and cables for recycling?
Fantastic. I do believe, and I'm shooting off the cuff right now, or whatever that saying is. I do believe, like, if you put them in like a bag like this, I think it's like $2 or something for all of the cords in a bag. So you can bring those in and drop those off. If they're coming along with the cords are coming along with the computers and whatever they're charging, then that's included in that in the drop off of the computer stuff. So or the television or whatever it's attached to. I hope that makes sense. All right. So the big hot topic these days is plastic film, or flip-floppy plastic is what I call it. And what can we put in it and what can't we? Now, that is a program that we do not run. CSWD does not run, but you can check with some local retail stores. They have a take-back program. I know Williston, Shaw's, and Hannaford both have a take-back program. And what happens is pretty cool. Instead of shipping a truck back empty, they actually load it up with baled up flip-floppy plastic, and they take it back to central headquarters, and then it gets bought by a company called Trex, which some of you might be familiar with, and then Trex turns it into, like, oh, I almost fell off this chair, turns it into plastic lumber. So you can make decks out of it. They make chairs. In York, Maine, there is a train bridge made out of what once was flip-floppy plastic, which kind of blows my mind. It takes a lot to do that. So plastic film is recyclable, but there are specifics to it. First off, it needs to be a number 2 or number 4 type plastic. And you might be asking, somebody asked in when they registered, like, what do those little numbers mean? So you might have seen little numbers on your recyclables. All right, plastic recyclables, I should say. They have a little recycle triangle with a number in it. Doesn't mean they're recyclable. It's a name tag for the type of plastic. All right, there's lots of different types of plastic that have different chemistries. They melt at different temperatures. They sink and float in water differently. And so that's why they need to be sorted out. And each recycler is focused on one type of plastic. Number 4 and number 2 are both polyethylene type plastics. One is high density and one is low density, but the same type of plastic. And so that is what is being looked for in the floppy plastic program. All right. So you can either base it on, does it say number 2 or number 4 on the bag, on the plastic? If it has that, boom, you are golden, man. Pop that in a bag. I collect it in a little bucket. You can collect it in a little plastic bag, tie it shut, and shove it in a little bin. For me, it's at the grocery store, but wherever you're dropping it off at. You can check the number. You can also check the type of bag, like what it's used for. So wrapping from drink cases, check, put that in the bin. All right. Wrapping from paper towels or toilet paper, check, put that in the bin. Bread bags or baked good bags, check, that can go into the bin as well. All of your Ziploc bags can go into the bin, but I caution, make sure that everything is clean and dry before you stick it in there. All right. It is our responsibility. It's great they have the program, but it's our responsibility. Make sure that it's all prepped properly and that they aren't getting moldy, gross stuff. Otherwise, the program might disappear. Who knows? I'm not saying it's going to. Just say we have a responsibility. Packaging, like these envelopes that you get like shirts and stuff in the mail, can go in, but please remove the labels. It's easier for me. I just cut them out, toss the labels in the trash, and then throw this into the flip-floppy bin. But make sure that those labels come off, makes their job easier, and they already have a hard job, so let's make it easier for them. Bubble wrap, all right, that's another one that can go in. Those air balloons, I had an example of those. Oh, yeah. These, I deflated them. So deflate them, all right? Those pillows, air pillows, that's air balloons, air pillows. So deflate them. those can go in the bin. And you want to look for, so one of the things you can look for is a company called howtorecycle.info. They actually have been working with plastic film manufacturers and trying to get a better way to help people figure out whether things are recyclable or not. So, like this mailer from Amazon, you could see, let's let it focus, that this says plastic bag. It's like going in and out, sorry. Store drop off, all right? That's like, check. How to Recycle has it down pat. So believe what they say, all right? Listen to what they say. Now, there is this cranberry bag, which I got a question from one of our employees the other day about this. So I was like, I'm gonna snag this for class. He was like, can this go in? I looked everywhere. I'm like, I cannot find a number. I can't see if it's a 2 or a 4. I'm gonna go with no. So for me, if I can't find any information on it, I err on the side of caution, right? This does not fall into a bread bag or a bag type. So I was like, I would throw it in. But on the bottom, it had this little doodad on it. And just let the camera focus. So it says, do not recycle with a slash through the recycle plastic pouch. So this is going to get chucked into the trash. Okay? One cool thing is with the link to the Trex acceptance thing that you'll get in the resource list, you will actually get like a whole list cereal bag. So if you're a late night snacker like me, or you got little Kit Kats hanging around, you're probably going through a lot of cereal. These cereal bags actually can go in to get turned into plastic lumber or train bridges, which I think is pretty cool to share with the little kiddos as well.
Hey, Rhonda.
Yeah.
Jerry would like to know if there are any colors of floppy plastic like black that can't go into that Trex program.
Nope. So long as it meets number 2 or number 4 or the product type. And I will show you a slide that has it on it. But again, I'll give you a link to that as well. So as long as it meets those. Now, for me, I can kind of tell which plastic is polyethylene, but I often err on the side of caution. And if I can't figure it out and I can't see a number or a type of bag, I'm going to go ahead and pop that in the trash. So like these two, this is like what brought it up for me. So this is a number 4. This is the number 7. It says it on it, but you can't see it. They feel the same. If I would have seen this, I would have been like, oh yeah, number 4, great, let's pop it in. And if this didn't have a number on it, because it felt the same, I would have been almost inclined to put it in. But when I got this and I saw it was a number 7, I'm like, oh, Rhonda, don't be using that idea. So err on the side of caution, just so that you make their job a little easier. But I think it's awesome that we have an ability to keep all this floppy plastic out of the landfill. Fantastic.
One more. Yeah. Eileen said that there was a 60-minute episode recently about the fact that 100% of the plastic bags from plastic bag recycling bins were not being recycled. How confident are you that recycling actually gets recycled appropriately?
Well, Trex, the company, is buying these plastic bags from the grocery stores. I doubt they would be spending money if in fact they weren't going to be using them in their product. I've never visited them. I can't vouch for them personally, and CSWD can't vouch for them, but logic tells me if they're paying, they're definitely using them. And they are a very reputable company. And they actually have like community and school programs too. But I do some digging, I guess. And I guess it depends. There's a couple different companies that recycle plastic bags. It's whether the stores are sending it or not. I don't question Trex. I mean, I don't question the stores either, because they're taking the time to actually collect it, bale it up, and put it on their trucks. So I would say that I'd be fairly confident, but I wouldn't 100% guarantee it. Would you agree, Beth? Okay, all right, great. Any other questions about floppy plastic? All right, we're just going to go back to the slides for a hot second here. All right, so let's get out of that slide, though. We already looked at that one. All right, so just to sum up the floppy plastic, there are different ways to do it. You can do through the product itself, whether it says 2 or 4 on it. So you'll be looking for these symbols. Or you can look for these how to recycle info. Again, if it has a line through it, that means no, please don't put it in there. But if it says store drop off, you can include it in dropping it off at the store. Again, please don't put this floppy plastic in the blue bin because it does gum up our equipment. And then the guys have to get out there on spinning. Well, I mean, turn it off, but it just increases the risk, the hazards for the workers at the materials recycling facility. We like to keep their jobs easy peas. So this is a quick look. And again, you're going to get a link to this particular page on Trex's website, which most grocery stores use. So it'll show you all of these specifics of what can and cannot be recycled in the floppy plastic program. All right. Any questions before we move on to mattresses? Fantastic. Now, is Josh Costa on this call tonight or in this class tonight? Just doing a shout out to Josh. All right. And if he doesn't, it's fine. So we're going to move on to mattresses. We're going to start with a quick video just to show you how at Sleepwell Recycling, they break down mattresses and box springs for recycling. I was hoping Josh Costa, who is the owner of the company, was on tonight's class, but he probably is breaking down mattresses and box springs. And then we'll go into like what happens to some of the materials that they get out of these. Just as you're watching this video, they are recycling anywhere between 10 and 15,000 mattresses every year, keeping them out of the landfill. And up to 95% of mattresses and box springs are recyclable. And so this is a pretty fantastic endeavor that they've taken on. But as you can see from the video, wicked hard work, and very, very labor intense. I had the privilege of trying my hand at breaking one of the mattresses down or the box springs, and whoo! I was like, I couldn't see that every single day. But so yeah, it's great that they are able to keep all of this stuff out of the landfill. Now, on the right-hand side over here, you guys, they break it down to basically 3 major categories. And I know that they also do some textile recycling too, like the toppers and stuff, but I'm going to stick to what I know for sure. So they do collect the foam, the wood, and all of the steel that's in bed frames or bed mattresses and box springs. The foam goes to a place in New Jersey and it gets turned into like carpet padding. The wood actually goes right down the road from them because they are located on Riverside Ave in Burlington. So you can drop off with them straight up if you want to drop off mattresses. Just give them a call, make sure that they're around. But that goes down to McNeil's plant and gets made into energy for Burlington. And then all of the steel gets picked up by All Metals Recycling and gets turned into fantastical things like planes, trains, and automobiles in the end. Let me make sure. So last year, no, 2022, CSWD collected over 87,000 pounds of mattresses. Let me blow your mind here because I just got some new data in. In last year, 2023, CSWD collected 250,000 pounds of mattresses and box springs from you, my friends, who are bringing them to either Williston or Milton. Those are the only 2 drop-off centers that accept mattresses, but all of the mattresses that you bring to us will get recycled. They go right here to Mr. Costa and his fantastic crew to get turned into new things. This is long overdue. It's very exciting. Questions, comments? Okay.
I have some for the end, but I'll let you keep going.
Okay. Fantastic. So next, we're last but not least, latex and oil-based paints. These are architectural paints, meaning they're made to paint buildings inside and out. Both of these types of paints get recycled, all right? But We, the people, have a responsibility to make sure that we're storing paint properly. Please don't store it in your garage if it gets below freezing or if you have an unheated garage. Once latex paint, and sometimes, and I'm not actually sure about oil-based, but I'm a latex. Once it freezes, it's trash. All right. 34% of what we get into the environmental depot or pick up on the rover goes automatically to waste to a specific landfill, not our landfill, but a waste chemical landfill. 44% gets recycled in Canada, all right, and that's 44% of latex and oil-based paint, and 22% of the latex alone gets made into local color right here in good old Chittenden County, right here at our environmental depot. Local color is an amazing paint that's recycled, actually pretty much reused, and it is and it's cheaper, man. $11 a gallon. I'm not trying to sell it or anything, but paint, latex and oil-based architectural paint is also another product stewardship program that Vermont legislation ensures that the manufacturers are providing the means to get that recycled. And that is recycled through a program called Paint Care. They're the ones that actually deal with all of the paint eventually.
Hey, Rhonda.
Oh, yeah, go.
Judy would like to know if the paint is dry, is it toxic waste or can it be put into the trash?
Great question, Judy. So if it is latex paint and it is dry, you can pop that bad boy in the trash. Same with oil-based, but you're not going to have that hardened unless it's probably like 60 or 70 years old. But yeah, if it's latex paint and it's all dried up, all right, you can just pop it on there and toss it into the trash. However, if you do bring even the empty cans down to the depot, we actually do recycle all of the metal cans of paint once they're empty. Any other paint questions? We're gonna watch a quick 1.5-minute video on how local color is made by the hard workers at the environmental depot, mostly Bobbert. Josh, the beginning. So cracking the cans open with just a screwdriver, and then it goes in there, and then all of it will be recycled. That can be. This is Bob. Mixing up the paint once we get a full drum. Each drum is about 600 pounds of paint. Now we're ready to fill. Bob is ready. No, wait. Bob's ready to fill the 1, 2, and 5 gallon buckets of local color. We can filter through our filter. And it takes about an hour to an hour and a half per drum to fill buckets. Woohoo! Hammer on, let's throw a label on that, and that is a wrap for local color. That's very set up, but you get the shit. Now, I'm going to ask if you guys to make an action plan. All right, and we're running out of time, so I'm going to hurry up here. One of these actions, guys, if you could just take one of these actions, you can set up a special materials sort station like this one in the picture is from my house. For different products or different materials that you can take out. Spread the word, be an ambassador, tell your neighbor all about it. Or ask a local retail store to start being like a battery collection site. I know Burlington is in need of some retail stores picking it up, so people that don't have car transportation can get to and start recycling some special materials. So that is our contact info. I'm just gonna wait till you write it down. Just kidding. I'm like, I can't seem to. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing this. Let you see our beautiful faces and questions. Let's go. You're on mute. I know.
Here we go. Food pouches for baby food and applesauce. Tammy would like to know about those.
Yeah, so there is a company called TerraCycle. We don't support nor deny them or whatever. You look into their credibility yourself. But TerraCycle does have brigades or special recycling that you can recycle hard to recycle things. Granola bar wrappers are it's a soft spot, so I do that myself.
Phone cases.
Woo, phone cases, that's a good one. I would say if it's reusable, take it back to Restore, Resource, Goodwill, something like that. Check with shelters and New American, the refugee program. I think they changed names, so I'm blanking on it. Check with them. They like to have a lot of reused stuff. If it's not reusable, it's trash.
What if the batteries have leaked out?
Great question. Put them in a baggie if they're the same kinds of batteries. So if you're talking about like alkaline batteries, wear gloves. I would even wear eye protection because that stuff is pretty caustic. It will burn you because it's a base. So put it in a baggie, zip it shut, bring it on down to our drop-off center. If it is a swollen, like a let me see if I can find one real quick. If it is a lithium battery, like these little square ones, and it's puffed up, put it in a plastic bag. All right, you can even put some little kitty litter in there because you don't want to get it wet, and then bring it down to a drop-off center. You don't have to be like super frightened, but I'd rather you guys be safe on the safe side than not.
Also, dead electric toothbrushes. Gail is wondering about if we take those.
Yeah, pop that into the batteries. We'll take it. We'll bag it up and put it with the batteries. Yep.
Cheryl wants to know if all this information is on that Rhonda went over is on our website. It's on the website, and you'll be sharing it, right? You'll be
and then I'll have a resource list where you can click clack away for days of information and the different things that you can think. And then again, this is recorded and you'll have a link to it so you can review our beautiful faces if you're getting bored one night. Any other question?
Yep, car seats. Have you heard anything about a program at Target?
I have not heard about a program at Target.
And I'm not sure, just as a parent myself, if you're allowed to recycle or reuse car seats because they change. So that's something that we'll have to look into and get back to you. Yeah, great question though, Susan.
Yeah, I knew there was a program someplace with car seats where they were shipping them someplace to get torn apart and recycled that way. That might be what Target is referring to, but yeah, we'll look into that for sure. Thank you for that heads up. Like I said, we don't know everything. Although we do look that brilliant. Just kidding. Any other questions? Hot dog. Well, thanks guys so much for coming out tonight. It's been a blast.